Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you like and subscribe and click the little bell, you'll be notified of future videos. This is the tragic story of Anneliese Michel and whether or not she was possessed by demons. Prior to you listening to this, I have surrounded all of us and myself in a golden light of protection, so demons, entities, negative energies, nothing can harm us, nothing can touch us. We are safe. Thank you. So who was Anna Elizabeth or Anneliese Michel? She was born September 21st, 1952, and she passed away July 1st, 1976. She was a German woman who underwent a Catholic exorcism rites during the year before her death. She was diagnosed with epileptic psychosis. She had a history of psychiatric treatment, which overall was not effective. When she was 16, she experienced a seizure and was diagnosed with psychosis caused by temporal lobe epilepsy. Shortly thereafter, she was diagnosed with depression, treated in a psychiatric hospital. By the time she was 20, she was intolerant of religious objects and began to hear voices. Her condition worsened despite medication. She became suicidal and displayed other symptoms. After taking psychiatric medications for 5 years, failed to improve on her symptoms, Michael and her family became convinced she was possessed by a demon. As a result, her family appealed to the Catholic Church for an exorcism. While rejected at first, and after much hesitation, 2 priests got permission from a local bishop in 1975. Anneliese Michel stopped eating food and died due to malnourishment and dehydration. Michel's parents and the 2 Roman Catholic priests were found guilty of negligent homicide, were sentenced to 6 months in jail, but it was reduced to 3 years probation as well as a fine. In 2005, the film The Exorcism of Emily Rose is based on her story. So she had a very tragic life. It sounds like she had epilepsy. She was brought up with her parents and 3 sisters. Her parent was Joseph and Anna. She was religious, went to Mass twice a week. When she was 16, she suffered a severe convulsion and at that point was diagnosed with epilepsy. Her classmates described her as withdrawn and very religious. She was prescribed anti-convulsion drugs for the first time, including Dilantin, which did not alleviate the problem. She began seeing double faces at various times during the day. She was prescribed another drug, Aolept, which is similar to chlorpromazine. And she could have also possibly had symptoms of schizophrenia, or this treatment of a drug was also for that. She suffered depression and began hallucinating while praying. She had voices telling her she was damned and would rot in hell. So she became intolerant of Christian sacred places and objects such as the crucifix. Now, this is going to be an interesting reading to do, and I'm going to use several decks of cards in order to do it. So I'm going to show you a couple more pictures of her. Beautiful young woman. She had a whole future ahead of her, and then look how horribly bad it went. She ended up dying of malnourishment, and I feel it's really sad. So what we're going to ask the cards, and I'm going to use 2 different layers here. So I'm going to ask the Robin Wood, which is my go-to deck. Was Anneliese actually possessed by some demon? And then I'm going to pull from the Haunted Tarot. I might even do 3 layers. Was Anneliese actually possessed by a demon? Now, in the regular tarot, there isn't really a demon card, okay? So there is like a devil card, but there's no demon card. So I'm going to pull 3 cards there. And then I am going to pull 3 from the Haunted House Tarot, which looks like that for anybody listening to that does readings and wants to interpret the cards on your own. Was Anneliese possessed by a demon? Look at that. There's the exorcism. You can't make this shit up. When you're pulling cards and you get the exorcism card. Seriously, you can't make this shit up. And then I'm going to read for this once I pull 3 cards from here. 3 cards from the Haunted Tarot. Wow. Wow. Let's take a look at what we have here. So, pulling from the Robin Wood, this is a lot of fire energy. Like she got fight or fire energy. And this can be energy from spirit. So this could technically be like a feeling like spirit is attacking you. She had a lot of burdens. So she had a lot of conditions. And maybe even these weren't all diagnosed. Now, wand. We got 3 wands. This is all spiritual in nature. So this means she had a habit of being injured. And then we've got the head injury. He's got the head bandage, which tells me that there was a head injury, or she could have had damage from the epilepsy, but there was definitely an imbalance. So I just had a card fly off. That's all right. Nothing really scares me, but I have to look at the card. So this is the card that flew off. Like she was trapped. This is the Ten of Swords, that she just felt trapped in her life and that things were attacking her from everywhere. And this is also in the thinking mind. So this flew off, so I'll just keep it out there for the fact that it flew off the thing, which doesn't scare me. I don't get freaked out by things like that. This is also the 8 of Wands, another wand. She had all this fire energy. And then we've got another 10 of Wands. Look at all these wands we have, which is the fire energy, okay? And then this, of course, is the exorcism. And she would see shadowy figures. There's like she'd see shadowy figures during that. But, of course, if you're starving to death, you could have hallucinations. If you're on medication, she quit eating and drinking. She's starving to death. So, right now, I'm not seeing anything that would tell me there was a demonic possession. This tells me that she had a lot of fear, that there was a lot of fear, and that she had a head injury, and that her thinking mind wasn't right, because this is a 10 of Swords, your thinking mind. And just because a priest does an exorcism does not necessarily mean the condition that the person is possessed. And just because they see visions and visuals things still does not mean they are possessed. So I'm going to bring out my Anna Kay deck, and I'm going to pull 3 cards in the middle, because this obviously is a thinking condition. Her thoughts are being influenced by the head injury, the brain injury. I think that she had a brain injury, to tell you the truth. So I'm going to pull 3 cards from the Anna Kay to get there. There you have it. I mean, this is the 8 of Swords, you guys. She was in such a dilapidated state. Once again, the head's bandage. You guys, she had a mental thinking mind, brain injury, and she had hallucinations of these things. But to tell you the truth, just when I pulled this card and I look at the rest, this is probably why the priest and the parents that did this to her actually were found guilty, because the cards here are not indicating that this is a woman that was actually truly possessed. This is that she wanted to be normal. She just wanted to be normal like other women, and she did remember herself when she was normal, but she had that convulsion. It caused a brain injury. They put her on a lot of medications, and she just went downhill from then, and she was like trapped in her own body. This is a woman who has literally felt trapped in her own body. So I will pull another card to see what was going on with her. Nine of Cups. This is, so at one time she was a very happy young woman, well adjusted. I think what happened was that convulsion or seizure, I think that flipped it for her. That flipped it. So, the missing piece. The missing piece. The missing piece. Why is there a missing piece? All right, let me see. Anneliese, are you trying to come through and talk about a missing piece? I'm gonna see if I can communicate with her, and I don't promise anything. Anneliese, if you're on the other side and you're telling me there's a missing piece, what's missing? What am I missing? What's the missing piece, Anneliese? What is the missing piece? Okay, so she said, I have to pay more attention to the Ten of Swords. Okay, so we have now the Ten of Swords, and it's funny, the Ten of Swords fell out, and the Ten of Swords is what I pulled in this deck. The Ten of Swords. And this is the Ten of Swords trapped in her mind. What do you want to say, Anneliese? That she... Okay, she felt like someone killed her. She feels like, because this person is stabbed in the back, she feels like somebody is responsible for her death. So Anneliese, who do you feel, or what do you feel? Who do you feel has contributed to your death? I mean, she's really bitter about this. She wants me to talk about this trapped. She was trapped. She couldn't do anything. There was somebody else in control of her body. Okay, Anneliese, you have the floor. What do you want to say about this? Who was responsible for your death? The Hangman. Okay, and so who would be the Hangman? Who would be looking at this differently? Or who would be this man that you feel is responsible, that she felt tied up? Okay, so she feels like somebody actually didn't treat her properly. And this is the Knight of Swords again, so it's very troubling. Somebody was very angry. The Knight of Swords is very angry. We're getting a lot of swords here. So the Knight of Swords is a person. So somebody was angry about her condition. They were, and maybe it was because she was so angry and became out of control. So what do you want to say to make peace with this, Anneliese? What do you want to say to make peace of this? The Emperor. Okay, so this is a male figure that has a lot of control. The Emperor has a lot of control. He rules like a whole country. Somebody was controlling her. Excuse me. Somebody was controlling her situation. Okay, so this is what she wants to say. She's in heaven with the angels. She's not with demons. She realizes that her parents were trying to do the best for her. So she doesn't she doesn't have bad feelings about the parents, okay? So there's no bad feelings about the parents. This is the Lovers. They were just making the choices that they thought would help her. She's a beautiful angel now, and she'd like to be remembered as a beautiful angel. And not the pictures that are going around portraying her as this possessed person, and they made this scary movie. I think she's angry about the movie. Let's ask her. Anneliese, are you angry about the movie that was made about you? Is that what you're upset about? She's made peace about that too. She wishes she could have had a normal life with a boyfriend. There was a lot of trouble around her life by the smoke, but she's in a place of peace and love, and she wants people to remember her for that. I don't even know if I need to pull from Haunted House Tarot. So Anneliese, what is your message? What's your message to people who watch the movie and know about your life? What is your message to them? Oh, so she wants to make it aware that head injuries can cause a person to feel trapped, like they're trapped in their own body. And here's the head injury. You guys pay attention to this. You can't make this up. This is different decks. A bandage around the head. Excuse me, a bandage around the head and a bandage around the head. She's really pointing out that this was in her head. Do you feel like there was any real demons that were attacking you? Do you feel like there was any real demons that were attacking you? No, that's the physical suffering. I had a physical condition. Oh, once again, a bandage on the head. You guys, this is an interesting card because the Five of Pentacles means she felt literally kicked out by the church. Like she felt, excuse me, that she felt abandoned by the religion that she was so faithful to. And she points to her head injury. You can't make this up. Too many of these cards. The head injury. You can't make this up. She had a physical condition in her body. She was not possessed. And that's what she wants people to know. Pay attention that not everything is as it seems. She is very much with the angels and in a good space right now. And yet, the people who do watch her movies and stuff have this horrible memory of her. And she's in a beautiful place right now. And she's healed. So I didn't expect this reading to take a turn like this. So that's why I got out my Haunted House Tarot deck, which I don't have to use. This poor woman had a physical condition. She feels let down by the church. And we can all understand that because they did exorcisms and somehow she was allowed to starve to death and she passed away. So I'm actually going to thank her for coming through. And the memories, Anneliese, that I'm going to hold of you are a beautiful, beautiful. I'm going to remember you like this, Anneliese. This is how I'm going to remember you. Is a beautiful woman that happened to have a seizure that caused brain damage. And evidently medications, whatever medication she was on, or the brain injury caused her to hallucinate. But she definitely is telling us through the Five of Cups, this card right here, this Five of Cups is that she had a physical condition. There's no demon here. There's no demon. So you know what? Let us change and remember this beautiful young woman for who she was before that brain injury. And let us be aware that not everything that happens in life, just, she might have had visions and things like that. People with schizophrenia, they also hear voices. So let's just remember that mental illness is real, brain injuries are real, and that just because the medication wasn't working for her doesn't automatically mean that she was possessed by demons. None of the cards that I have pulled today have indicated anything demonic. So I'm going to say, and I'm going to stick to this reading. I've been reading the cards for 27 years. And I am going to say that this beautiful young woman was not possessed. She had a brain injury, and I feel really bad for her that when she taps into this planet, that there's just all this fear around her, that people really feared her at the end. So that's my reading on Anneliese. And if you have comments about this, what do you think? What's your opinion? And I'm okay if somebody doesn't agree with me, because there's no reading that's ever 100% perfect or spot on or any, it doesn't exist. So what are your thoughts? What do you think happened to this beautiful young woman? I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts on this.